all right, I decided to do the drive. Even though it wasn't that much long of a drive, because I was already halfway at the part seeing Faith of Angels and Lee. So I was like, I'll just go the other half to see Devara Part 1. Does this really need to be a Part 1 and Part 2 movie? Let's find out. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Devara Part 1. What's about pretty simple premise. We are on a island, right? And on this island there are 4 different villages that are kind of like, they're close niche. And they do these gun running missions. It is gun running missions, but they don't know what they're doing. Basically, some people are paying them saying, hey, this is going to help your economy. This is going to help you survive. But you're going to kind of steal these cargo, kind of like pirates, and give it to us. But what do you know? There's guns in them, and these guns actually killed some of these people that are from this village. So at least one of the village elders, if you want to call it that way, Devara, said, no, we are done. If you even think about doing these shipments ever again, I will kill you. And of course, rifts happen, and we're trying to figure out who is killing who now and who is what. So, did I like this movie? It was fine. It was a storytelling, and I'm seeing a lot of Indian reviewers as well basically say, like, yeah, the action when it's on screen, it's gripping. When it's actual story building, that's where people are like, why is this a 2-part movie? Like, what are you trying to prove? The reason, okay, let's talk about the positives before I go into the story elements that are kind of weak in my opinion. So positives, the action set pieces. They're bloody, they're brutal, and I enjoyed them. Every time, like, even on the beach, great. Every time when they're trying to do the ritual to get the ultimate weapon for their village for that year, awesome. Acting, pretty good overall throughout this movie. So, also with Indian movies, you have intermissions, right? This one, it said intermission, but they didn't give you time to do it. But you had the first half of the movie that is talking about Devara, who he is, and his just family and what he's doing to help these people. The second half, something happens, and now we're following his son, if you want to put it that way. And that's where the movie completely changes for me. Like, when we're not following Devara, I wasn't that entertained. The reason why is the Devara storyline felt more grounded. It felt gritty. Yes, of course, there are still silly water work, things in the very beginning where he's, like, going through waves. Understand that, fine, whatever. But it wasn't as bombastic as the second half. Because the second half leans more into this love story, this cheese, tries to have comedic elements, tries to go this weird, different Waterworld Aquaman route. And that's what the last battle sequence did. Like this weird, I'm going to call it CGI, but it was a lot of in water, just Xing people in the back. And that action set piece, while it was very stylistically semi-cool, it just didn't grip me as well as all of the ones doing on land. It just didn't work for me. And I don't understand why this needed to be a 2-part movie. The reason I say that is because in the very beginning of the movie, you're like, 12 years, you're basically in today's day and age, right? I don't know no, actually you're like in 2016. So first off, you're in 2016, which that means part 2. I don't know why anyway. Cricket. There's a cricket match, but however, there's a warlord who's gone into hiding, and they're basically telling this cop, I can't do my job. You guys haven't been able to do my job. I'm like, oh, politics, blah, 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 politics. So politics is this shit thing in every country, apparently. But they're like, now, just go find him. They can't find him. So these cops go to this island and say, there's a shipment coming, do it. And of course, they're like, oh, God, no. We are not doing this shipment because of Devara, I'll put it that way. And so now we are told this story through one of the other elders to these cops. And that is literally the first 10, 15 minutes of that. And then the last 15 minutes, yes, sprinkled here and there of like 30-second clips of like, breaking the story up a little bit. But you're just like, okay, I understand now this part 2 is going to be more present day. These cops. And I don't know, because how the second half of the movie ends as well, it's more baffling because it's like the reasoning to kill some of these characters to me make no freaking sense. I mean, the rationale of these characters being like, we gotta do this to prove a point and I gotta kill myself. And you're just like, what? Really? Like that's what you're coming out of it? You're there to be like make a folklore. Yes, I understand you're doing it to like have this ghost following the mountain or a ghost entity like, always just haunting these villages and not do these things. However, at a point it's like if people are going to realize this ghost figure is fake, are dead already, and they're going to go rampage and do what they want. So that part really angsts me a little bit of like, what are you doing? You're supposed to protect these people and you decide to do this to yourself. And it's not just that character, it's other characters in this movie. You're just like, what are you doing? So it's like, come on now. Is that really smart? Is that a really smart thing to do? So, yes, going into this movie, I was thinking, do I do the drive? And I decided to do the drive, and I did it with a little bit of like, a lot of people are saying, it's the storytelling, it's the part two. If you kept this a part one movie and didn't care about this cricket game, this government, if they just focused on this island and what they did with smuggling, get to know some of these other characters, what these weapons of war actually did, and these two side characters that are kind of the middleman are the people that are paying the folks. They're barely in the movie. So that's why I'm just like, where is part two actually going to try to go? Are they going to try to go to these smugglers? Are they going to this one guy that absolutely despises Devara? Are they going to focus on this other warlord that these politicians are trying to finally stop? But I'm just thinking, is it really going to connect to part one? And the answer is probably no. And if it does connect, it's going to be like why does this need to connect? And I think that's the problem people are having with this storytelling is it's kind of all over the place of what they're actually trying to tell. So overall, Devara part one, I'm going to call this into like 3 parts because part one is a movie. It's not bad. The action set pieces were pretty fun. Before the intermission, I really dug this movie. I was thinking, why are people not liking this movie? Like, why are people dogging the storytelling? I understand what they're going for. But then when the intermission happens, you're thinking, oh, there's this weird intermission or weird just lull of like 45 minutes of like weird comedic relief, trying to find love. A not good music video set piece. Like the first dance sequence in the beginning, awesome. The second one, it felt very music video-esque and it just like, get away from here. Get away. And just the final action set piece, it was some Aquaman, Waterworld craziness that just took me out of the film. So Devara Part 1 will receive a 3 out of 5 of Futons. It goes at 60%. Let's see what the critics' news scores gave this one. So we have an audience score at 81% with over 250. Critics are 8 of them. We have a negative, a positive, a negative. So 3 negatives, 4 negatives, 5 negatives. Oh, damn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives, 2 positives. So that's 8. So let's do quick math. That's like maybe a 30-something%. Oh, that's a 40%. Oof. So 40, 60, 81. Pretty spread out. Chase like here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thing, Blue Futontopia. You Blue Tony. Thank you for watching a great day. Come watch this tape tomorrow, week from now, month, and a year from now. Every single freaking one of you. Peace and love. Peace and love. And did you like this movie? Or is this white guy don't understand this movie?